Hello, Lupine Fiasco back with another Talishar.net gameplay video featuring FaB, Rise and Rebellion. Today we will be playing against Bravo. Bravo's pretty big in the meta right now. He has had quite a good showing in recent events. Starstruck is a very good card and very scary for us. This Bravo is sporting an Anothos. A lot of Bravos recently are using Titan's Fist and Steel something, Buckler, it's a shield, playing a little more defensively. But here we are just in a typical smackdown. So sideboard plan here, Art of Wars come out, the Flame Call package comes out. We're only running one Phoenix Flame. We want to get some non-blocks out of our hand and not be stuck with any sort of we don't want to be punished for not being able to play a 5-card hand. Being stuck with a Phoenix Flame, being stuck with an Art of War, especially if we then arsenal it and get threatened with a Command and Conquer. It's pretty bad for us. And first turn, we see Bravo dominate a Buckling Blow. Not the worst thing they could dominate on turn 0. We give them the Flame Skill, the first half of Flame Skill Furnace because we would lose it anyway. So we are either blocking for 3 and losing 7 points of value, or blocking for 5, losing 5 points of value. So that's why we threw the Furnace there. The Buckling Blow Crush would have taken a point of armor anyway. All we're doing here is just playing out our hand efficiently. 4-power attack, 4-power attack. Bravo lets it hit. We get to throw another 4-power attack. We can threaten a Mask of Momentum here. We'll only get Bravo's Iron Rot legs. Not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things, but we've got to chip that armor away eventually. Anothos Bravo is going to hit harder. Terra Sunder comes in for 7. I've found that Anothos Bravos are more inclined to use Bravo's hero ability than Fist Buckler Bravos. Been having a lot of trouble with my Talishar client lately, so if you see me refresh throughout the video, that is me confirming that the lag is not on my end. Either my opponent is lagging or just taking time to make a decision. How dare they, I know. If Bravo does block this Lava Vein Loyalty, we have a choice of whether we want to attack with our Phoenix Flame for 1, or if we want to arsenal it to set up a 5-card hand for our next turn. A fairly weak 5-card hand. Phoenix Flame out of Arsenal, especially in our deck, is not exactly anything special. A lot of the time, Phoenix Flame from Arsenal is something we would have been able to do anyway. Our deck is built to recur the Phoenix Flame, but it can help if we have something like a Blaze Headlong, 2 Lava Vein Loyalties. And here we have Bravo throwing an undominated Crippling Crush. We do want to block this for sure. Just a question of how are we blocking it and what are we doing with our extra card. So we do have 2 3-blocks here, which is lucky for us. We can block 6 and then make a choice of whether we want to block with Brand or Rise, and then what we want to do with the remaining card. Having not seen any Command and Conquers from Bravo yet, I am not inclined to arsenal a card here. We do want to get our value. So here I am looking to block 8, the 2 Lava Vein Loyalties, and Brand with Cinderclaw. I'll then play Rise from the Ashes, pick up a Phoenix Flame, attack with it for 3, and pass the turn. Not saying it's always wrong to arsenal against Guardian, just that it's something to be aware of. We haven't seen Command and Conquers. It is a particularly strong hand, strong 2-card hand from Bravo to make a Tech Surge and then play Command and Conquer. We do choose to arsenal here. We are not punished for it. This is not a Command and Conquer. But it is a pretty scary attack here, where we have Anothos for 7, dominated on hit, will discard 2 cards. Unfortunately, we do have the reinforced line, which is great, but unfortunately our only 3 block is a non-attack action. So in order to block this out completely, we will need to use the second half of our furnace. On the one hand, that is disappointing that we're losing a point of armor so early in the game. On the other hand, this is the sort of attack that prompts us to play armor. This is why it's here, to block attacks like this. So this hand we will be blocking with Furnace, Ronin Renegade, and Reinforce the Line. On our turn, throwing a pretty easy little crackback, Brand, 2 Kodachis, a Phoenix Flame, and a Rising Resentment. You can see if we didn't have this Brand with Cinderclaw, say that we had attacked with, if we kept our Rise from the Ashes, attacked for 3, maybe Bravo doesn't have an arsenal here, maybe they do and they're at 29, but either way, we would get to threaten our Mask trigger, take armor away from Bravo, and still have blocked out that Terra Sunder. Just making the point that I also hate this sequencing for myself. I would have, if I could do this again, I would have liked to start this chain with the Rising Resentment, try to get a card from Bravo's hand, and then threaten 2/1/2 to get some armor for them as well. As it is, we're going to be throwing 3 damage their way. This Phoenix Flame will have the Shuko buff. We are not going to arsenal it, but I would have loved to have gotten a card and armor from Bravo, as opposed to just a card. Seeing another Terra Sunder here. Unfortunately, we do not have the option to cleanly block this out. We do not have the option to block it out at all. We only have 2 blocks in our hand. We only have 2 block equipment. Even if this was some weird game state where we are inclined to throw everything we have at this Anothos, we could not stop it. So instead, we will be discarding Spreading Flames and Brand with Cinderclaw, and we will be looking to play out a 2-card hand of Kodachi, Ravenous Rabble, hoping that Rabble hits for 4. Still just looking to wear our Bravo down. I've noticed in my recent Bravo games that usually as we head towards the mid-game, Bravo just stays up on life compared to us. Hitting the 4 here and getting 2 pieces of armor, so we can expect some heat from the Bravo. Unfortunately, them keeping a 5-card hand is pretty terrifying. We can expect some big dominate play. Instead, we just see crippling for 11 undominated. Interesting. It is going to prompt a sink below from us. Unfortunately, we don't get to keep this. We would have to give up a piece of equipment to block 8 here in Arsenal to sink below, but Snatch is a great 1-card hand to have. Either Bravo is going to give us all of his remaining equipment, or 1 piece of equipment and a card from hand. Seeing Bravo with a Rouse plus a Debilitate, they would have been able to Rouse for 7, but then not had the resources to attack with Anothos. So I see the line here, and I see why they didn't block. If they had had another blue, if the sigil was blue, they likely would have come in for 13. As it is, we're happy to get a Crippling Crush here. Like I was saying, I've noticed towards the mid-game that Bravo does accrue a bit of a life lead. I found in almost every game I've played against Bravo recently that at some point in the game I'll be down at least 10 life, and then come back to claw my way into a win. Guardians do generally played to preserve their life total. And if a Guardian is just taking all of your hits, well, either they are setting up for a big attack, or they are just playing too aggressively. This is this super aggressive play is not really what Bravo is meant to be doing. Dominated Starstruck here is pretty horrifying. This completely blanks our turn. We don't have a way to block this. It is dominated. We don't have a Sync and Arsenal. We don't have a Reinforce in hand. The only way that we can stop the crush effect is to throw both of our armor in front of this. Bravo at 24 life, even with no armor, is not in a position where I feel confident that we can close this game out without Shuko damage or the threat of a mask, especially with Bravo having no armor. We really want to get value from our mask momentum here. So this turn is just kind of a waste, right? We'll block with Salt the Wound here, Arsenal or Ravenous Rabble, keep these two cards and just hope that Bravo takes a turn off. The alternative is blocking with Mask, Shuko, and Lava Vein Loyalty, throwing Double Strike, Ravenous Rabble, Salt. If Bravo doesn't block at all, we could be looking at 12 damage there. We would be at 21. We would have no threat, no on-hits. So here, unfortunately, we are just going to take 7 and lose a turn. Bravo coming in with what looks to be just some damage. A pummel on top of this Zealous Belting is pretty scary. We are going to drop down to 8 here to Bravo's 24. You can see what I'm saying as far as a pretty huge life deficit in the mid-game. We are going to discard this Lava Vein Loyalty, potentially scary. If this is something we would have wanted to otherwise block, losing our 3 block here. But this does let us send 2 links, 3 links, 4 links, 5 links, and finally our Phoenix Flame for 6. With Bravo having no armor left, he's going to have to commit pretty significant resources to stopping mask triggers. And we're far enough behind here that we need to play for the best case scenario being that Bravo cannot attack with this card in Arsenal, which is in fact the case. Just making attack plating, or making a Seismic Surge. And here we get to send some damage back Bravo's way. Sigil, being a non-block, is huge for us. It does negate the life loss from this brand, but it doesn't stop a chain link. So we're still expecting Bravo to block with 2 cards here. Rabble for 2 is disappointing. Rabble for 4 would have been pretty incredible, but as it is, we're still going to get 1 more card from this Bravo. Or they'll let us draw. Sending Rising Resentment here. We will be arsenaling our Phoenix Flame. Potentially a mistake. I this is a command and conquer, and that may be why I played it here, just having a read that this 2-card hand is command and conquer. Instead we see Anothos for 4. This is half of our life total, so this does actually present a threat, as opposed to the early game where we could kind of blindly not block this. Instead, we can block 3 with a Soul Bead Strike, go to 7. On our turn, we can send Kadachi E-Strike for 7. 9 damage, gets a potential 3 cards from Bravo to stop the mask trigger, and even recycles a Ronin Renegade back into our deck. We can see that Bravo has presented 51, 67, 68 cards against our 60. And with Bravo having a way to put 2 cards back into his deck and still deal 6 between Tech Plating and Anothos. Fatigue is never really Bravo's plan, based on my understanding, and we don't necessarily need to play for being fatigued by Bravo. But just keep in mind that recycling threats, when you can still have a decent turn like this, is a good idea. Just something to be aware of, that you may find yourself in a position where you will be fatigued and you will need red cards left in your deck to close out games. Bravo choosing to tank 9 points of damage here and gives a card draw. Keeping a 5-card hand, we're going to see what they can put together. We still have not seen another Sink Below or another Reinforce the Line, which is pretty statistically unlikely. We would have hoped to have seen another one by now. Bravo sending a 13 damage turn is pretty horrifying. Revealing 3 cards, which is unnecessary. With a Starstruck in hand, they would have only needed to reveal 2. So potential misplay from them. Well, potential. Definitely a misplay from them. With the hand that they've showed us, we are looking at a minimum 13 damage here. Give me a second. I want to know what their crippling or Cranial Crush and Debilitate would come in for. Cranial Crush is unplayable with a blue and a yellow. Debilitate is playable, but is only 6 power, so we're looking at 13 damage here coming in from our Bravo. So we need to decide how to block this. We do need to keep at least 1 card in hand, if possible, for this Enlightened Strike. We would like to keep 2. We'd like to keep a Double Strike and any other card to bottom with E-Strike. So we could block 6, go to 1. This may be a situation where we just need to throw our entire hand in front of our Bravo's turn. Goodness, Rouse here is bad timing, especially not seeing our D-Reacts. Here we may be just looking to blank the turn as best we can and reset. Block 6, go to 6. Block 4, go to 4, and just try again. We would like to throw something back at the Bravo, knowing that they have a Starstruck that they would be able to arsenal. So we're going to need to leverage our equipment here. Bravo makes a Seismic Surge. Bravo throws Anothos for 6. We know that they are keeping a Starstruck for Arsenal. So now blocking with equipment does become a lot more important because we need to keep Bravo off of being able to dominate this Starstruck. So we keep the Mask of Momentum so that we can continue to threaten some kind of something. We can E-strike for 7 here, put the Bravo to 2. Bravo does block with 6, possibly not wanting to risk snapping this Enlightened Strike, ripping a finisher off the top. If Bravo didn't block here and went to 2 from this Enlightened Strike, we would absolutely break Snapdragon Scalers here, because otherwise we'd lose the game. We need to threaten something. So Bravo blocking with 2 blues does tell us that they probably had an all-blue hand. That being the case, I don't agree with blocking 6 here. I think they could have blocked 3, taken 4. Our Snapdragon potential goes way down on just ripping a finisher to end the game. Going to 5 means that we need to draw Lava Burst or Salt the Wound. As it is, I think Bravo should be looking to dominate the Starstruck here. I think playing too safe in this situation. They do block out the Enlightened Strike in its entirety. Coming in with a Nothos for 4 is going to force some blocks from us here. Still looking, I think, for their Command and Conquers to see if this Sync Blow is worth arsenaling. We could block with Lava Burst here, take 1 point of damage down to 1, play a Snatch, Snapdragons, Blaze Headlong for 4. Also looking to potentially sink below this Anothos, bottom this Lava Burst, and potentially draw into a starter. As it is, this hand looking like this, with our life total the way it is, I think blocking with Lava Burst, going to 1, arsenaling the Sink Below is our best line. But choosing to sink and bottom the Lava Burst. We draw Warmonger's Diplomacy, which is bad on its own, but good in that it is a blue. We'll get to threaten 2 Mask Triggers. I suppose 1 Mask Trigger, but a Snatch, 2 draw effects. So we get 2 cards from Bravo here to block the Snatch. Deal a little chip damage with Kadachis. This damage is increasingly becoming not chip. Throwing a Blaze Headlong for 4 to trigger Mask Momentum. This Blaze also having going, which is important if we do get the draw. Bravo with 3 reds and a blue. They're happy to throw this away and ship it back to us. That said, Bravo is very quickly losing control of this game. We've narrowed a 16-point life deficit to a 5-point life deficit. We still have plenty of gas in our deck. And even without plenty of gas, if our deck is entirely blues, we still get to threaten Kadachis, and these Kadachis are increasingly becoming lethal damage. Blaze Headlong here, now representing lethal. We'll get a defense reaction from our Bravo. Still looking for Anothos. But how long has this Starstruck been stuck in our Bravo's arsenal? And with Bravo now in a position where he can probably not keep 3 cards, is increasingly unlikely that Bravo will get to attack with it. So here we see Anothos for 6. We do have the Reinforced line, which we are going to use. So now we are just looking at how best to utilize this hand. We can block with a 2 and still throw our Reinforced to block it out completely. We can block with Mask of Momentum and a 3, which is potentially The right play probably is going to 1, but keeping our reinforce. Mask at this point is no longer a threat. Mask is 2 block. Our Bravo is low enough that 3 hits kills them. The on hit is death. So blocking for 5 here and keeping our reinforce in case we need it is a good line. That said, we can play for tempo at this point. Here, for how much Bravo is going to need to block, I like throwing Salt the Wound and Reinforce in front of Anothos, playing Rise from the Ashes, coming in for 3 with the Phoenix Flame, closing the chain, then coming in for 3 with Brand, 1-1-1. But I do like staying at 2 here as opposed to 1. This potentially means that Mask of Momentum plus a 2 block stops a 4 power Anothos, as opposed to needing to spend a 2 block and a reinforce to stop a 4 power Anothos. Without Shuko, Brand, Rise, Blue Soul Bead can only be 9 damage either way, whether we Phoenix Flame, close the chain, 3-1-1-1, or if we attack with Brand for 6, Kadachi 1. I believe, if I remember correctly, you will even see me here, Brand for 6, then 1-1-1. Doing this over, just optimizing the lines, I like breaking up that damage, sending 3-3 instead of 6. Bravos increasingly are playing blue unmovable to block for 5. I want to really negate the value of that. I want blue unmovable to overblock 2. I want my Bravos to lose value blocking my head jabs rather than get that full value from blocking a 6 power attack. Bravo in a position here where they are Kadachi locked. Our Phoenix Flame essentially attacks for 4 here, which is incredible value for us. Anothos for 4. We can see where keeping this reinforced in Arsenal would have cluttered up our hand. Our previous turn, blocking with the mask, we would be at 1 less life here. We would not have the option to block with this Lava Burst for 3 and take 1 point of damage. And we would essentially be IPing ourselves by not being able to use this second reinforced line. We would be missing out on some draw value. As it is, we can block with our Lava Burst, go to 1, send Kadachi, Mounting Anger for 4. If our Bravo has a D-React, then they get to keep 1 card, send another Anothos, and we'll have to block again on our next turn. If they don't have the D-React, then we strip Bravo's hand and get a full 4 cards to go 5 lengths wide on our next turn. So here, Bravo will never get off of a 1-card hand unless we just really brick, which is possible. But it is unlikely that Bravo will ever be able to attack for more than 4 for the rest of this game. So reinforced being just a resource as opposed to a defensive option is fine. If reinforced was sink below, that would be a little bit better for us here, being able to cleanly block Anothos, ship this lava burst back for hopefully a blue. But as it is, the reinforce should be enough to close out this game, just letting us play Mounting Anger. Sending the Kodachis first to bait real cards from our Bravo, hoping that they lose value, blocking this Mounting Anger. We'll see here if they have the D-React or not, and they don't. So we are able to completely strip Bravo's hand. Bravo gets to do nothing on their turn, and we draw plenty of gas. We get to go 6 links wide with this hand. All we need to win is to go 5, and we see that the Bravo choosing to block that Lightning Strike for 9 instead of 3. Yes, it would have taken them to 5. Yes, we would have drawn a card. But Bravo would have been able to dominate a Starstruck and really put the onus on us to draw well, to draw the D-React for Arsenal. So we can see how their defensive play really screwed them up there. But that our aggressive play, choosing to take our licks where we needed to be able to present mask triggers back to Bravo, stripping that armor, and going wide later in the game, paid off. Take some damage in the mid to close it out in the end. So I will see you all again with a new video in the future. Good luck in all of your games, and hopefully this helps you punish your Bravos for thinking that Guardian is still a good matchup for Ninja.